Hi, this is HAB Radio. My name is Jessica, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about youth teenage identity. In other words, your identity. As we all know, we have the typical teenagers who have the hoodies, the Blackberries, latest trainers and whatnot. As teenagers of the modern day, we have hobbies we enjoy, trends we follow, and slang we use in it. Us as youths, we have been given and tagged with bad names and reputations we have to live up to, such as dropping out of school or having 2 kids at the age of 16, living in a council flat, and living off benefits. I mean, can you imagine? One thing that gets me mad, and I mean mad, is the fact that just because teenagers wear hoodie, all of a sudden, they are all going to rob the mighty Bank of London. Teenagers are given a bad name, and we can change that by making the right choice. And that's all it takes. So I want to encourage us as youths to make the right choice. One more thing. As teenagers, do you know your rights? As teenagers, we need to know our rights, such as freedom of speech, the right to feel safe, the right not to be discriminated against. As a teenager, I feel that these rights are taken away from us on a daily basis. But because youths are now tagged as hooligans that gallivant the street of London doing nothing. I do understand personally that teenagers have done wrong things in the past, such as the riots that took place on the 6th of August to the 11th of August. And there might be more shocking things to come. But I also want the adults and the media to understand that not all youths are like this and should not just judge as any youth that comes by with a hoodie that they are hood rat, as this is prejudice and occasions can develop into discrimination. Here are some clips I have got from my fellow students when they felt discriminated and judged against because of their age. As youths, we tend to express ourselves through fashion, music, and art. This is our form of showing freedom of expression, which is our human right. But youths are looked down on because of our fashion sense, our hoodies, the art we do, and poetry, which is also known as rap and graffiti. Because we are looked down on because of the way we express our freedom of expression, it hesitates us from wanting to express ourselves anymore. And my message to all of you guys is to make sure you know your rights, express your identity, but know your limits. Moreover, I want to let you know that at the end of the day, it's your choice, your life, but make sure that you're making the right decision. Express your emotion like these guys and put the passion you have and the energy that some of you might have used in the riots in your education, and you'll see how far you go. Thank you. To relax your minds, here are some talented, unnoticed young artists. So, Munirat, how do you feel you've been discriminated against because of your age in your society?
Well, I feel like I'm being discriminated against every day. Say I go out and I wear a hoodie, the older generation would automatically look at me and assume that I'm a criminal. They'll assume that I'm good for nothing and that I took part in the riots.
And how does this make you feel?
This makes me feel victimized and neglected by society.
Thank you. Kalia, how do you feel you've been discriminated against because of your age in your society?
I feel I've been discriminated against because I am always fit. I've always been put into a stereotype that I'm not. For example, if you go shopping and the shopkeeper or the security guard will follow you around the shop as if you're going to steal something. Like this one time I went shopping and the security guard started following me around and thought that I stole something. This made me feel like I was a criminal and I did something wrong when I didn't.
And how did this make you feel?
It made me feel like victimized and that I was being judged before the person even knew me.
Thank you. Lastly, Ore, how do you feel you've been discriminated against because of your age in your society?
Well, sometimes I take my cousins to the park just to play, and if there are older members of the society in the park, they automatically assume that I've got children, because as we know, the teenage pregnancy rates are quite high in this country. But that does not mean that they should automatically assume that I've got children just because they're young kids and I'm taking them out to the park.
And how does this make you feel?
It makes me feel like a victim. It makes me feel like they're trying to make me live up to the expectations of how the media portrays teenage pregnancy. And for these reasons, I feel like I don't fit in, usually.
Thank you for your time. Yeah. So, how would your scenarios change if you were with an adult? As you say, you're judged when you're alone as a teenager. So if your parent or guardian was with you, how do you think people would see you when you're out?
I think they'll see me in a positive light. They won't automatically assume that I'm a criminal. They won't discriminate against me because I'm with a parent. They think that the parent will be responsible and that I'll be more respectful in their presence.
How about you, Kalia? How would your scenario have changed if you were with your parent?
If I was with a parent, I think I wouldn't be followed around the shop because they'd think my parent was responsible and wouldn't let me do something like that. And also that they would have money to buy things if I asked, so I wouldn't have to steal them.
Okay. Alright, how do you think your scenario would have changed if you were with an adult?
I think that they would understand that they were my brothers and sisters and that was my mum.
So the question I'm asking now is from a different bit. Look at, okay. So, Ori, do you know your rights?
Not really.
What about you, Munrat? Do you know your rights?
Kind of, like one of two.
What about you, Kayla? Do you think you know your rights?
I think so.
Do you want to name one of them for me, please?
I have the right to free speech.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yes, I'm a teenager, a rising integer, a passenger in a world of prejudges. We don't need discouragers but encouragers. If we're so bad, be our manager. Lead us the way, you could be our salvager. What? Because of my age I'm suddenly a damager or even a drug dealer? Huh? If I wear a hoodie, my future will be a tragic jeopardy? You see, we're judged by our age, and I think it's time we turn the page and make a change, and stop putting this issue aside and locking it up in a cage. I don't want to be trapped in this betrayed image. It feels like I'm being kept hostage. I want us all to unite, no buts or might. Doesn't matter about your heritage or your lineage. Let the young and old unite.
It's not one side against each other, we're all part of destruction. The mark of the beast is upon us. This war was well overdue, but what triggered it off was the murder of Mark Duggan. So I'm going to start with facts and statement views. His gun never did shoot. So they're wondering, why they blasting slugs in it? When this came across to the public, the anxiety was high. Tons of people went to the police station to ask why, but got no answers from the office. So what started off as a peaceful protest overnight turned into broken windows, buildings on fire, heat just exploded. These young people most involved in this ill tragic action, I'm not condemning what they're doing, but police are also to blame for their lack of skills when it comes to interacting with the people they're supposed to protect. They could have made the situation better if you just chose to connect. But sometimes what I'm seeing from them is a lack of demeanor that shows no respect. But I ain't just gonna throw insults to government police, because you right is just as bad. Look at the violence we see. I understand you're upset. What's happening in society. If you really take a real good look at yourself and realize this type of crime is cheap, stealing things you could afford, like KFC and McDonald's. The kid steals a TV because he's bored. What's the difference if a politician stealing thousands from tax fraud, an employee from Curry robbing their own curry store, beating up someone who's just taking a walk, went from injuring people to putting 3 people in a morgue? 3 men were murdered in Birmingham over this. Run over on purpose? What was the purpose of it? The looters weren't just solely use. People with privileged upbringings also had stolen goods. Social workers, postmen and teachers. I hope the media don't portray this as a racial stimulus. I feel it in the air, like the rain in Britain. Big black faces, but we ain't no criminals, but they're quick to give that stereotypical view. But when you're young and black, you already know what's expected of you. Am I any better too? Or I'm just contradicting what my tongue says. Because I think I might recognize someone when I see these pictures of possible suspects. That's the message I want to feed off. And even someone like me who knows right from wrong to get my mind blogged, That's something you might know, but I know something you might not. I know a person that wasn't part of the riots but got something paid to his account. Got a call a couple of days later on that a dozen officers were raiding his house. I ain't gonna go too much into detail. We resumed the case 6 weeks after bail. Then after I start to see, typical tyrants don't want to have their little laughs with me, saying, "You look like one of the riots from TV. I bet in your house you got a fresh new plaza screen." Maybe a bit of better, but I bet that's what they're actually thinking. The first criminals convicted were out in 24 hours, paying no fine. But the justice system want to run me down and charge me £100 just for not having a bus ticket? Where's the logic in this? Of course there's none, it doesn't exist in them. And the justice is as bad as the criminals for that type of punishment to be given to them. See, the idea in the head is, the ones involved ain't white, green, orange, red or pink. I just say what I really think. Now let's call it a day and put an end to this. What I say is relevant. And even if you don't agree with me, it's my opinion, and I'm telling it. I'm telling it.
So that was 2 poems. The first one I created to have an impact on society, and the second by a short film called Tales in the Hood. If you want to research this poem, it's called The Hoodie Monologue on YouTube.